This question says convert to millimeters. So we're going to do part A. We're going to convert 0.81 to millimeters. 0.81 meters to millimeters. So get your pen and your paper ready for it to start to write down. We are going to take a step-by-step ratio process. First, we start with some labeling. We create a ratio called the label ratio. And what we mean by that, we look at the labeling of what we want to convert from what to what. Is from meters to millimeters. If they convert 2 millimeters, we're supposed to convert meters to millimeters. So let's make a ratio, a labeling ratio with meters to millimeters. So we can use M for meters, to millimeters. We can use double M for millimeters. So we call that a labeling ratio. So please take this down. Now the second step now is to create a ratio with two numbers, okay? Meaning meters to millimeters, what is the actual values from meters to millimeters? So let's look that up. In this information we have here, as we can see, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. If you have a ruler nearby, 1 centimeter is divided into 10 divisions. Each division is a millimeter. So if you have 1 centimeter, you have 10 millimeters. Now, 1 meter now is 100 centimeters. Right? You have a meter length ruler, okay, that wide. That is 100 centimeters. Now, each centimeter is 10 millimeters. So therefore, 1 meter must be 100 times 10 millimeters. Because 1 centimeter is 10, each little centimeter is 10 millimeters, and you have 100 of that. So therefore, 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. Please take this down. 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. 1 meter is equivalent to 100 times 10, which is equal to 1,000 millimeters. 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. Please write this down. So this will form our next ratio with the values of meter. On the meter, we're going to put 1. 1 meter, and on the millimeters, we're going to put 1,000. So this is the purpose for the labeling. So 1 meter is 1,000 millimeters. That's the second step for ratio. First, you have your label ratio, then you have your values of conversion. So you'll get that in your notes or through your memory. Then we are going to the third step. The third step now is a ratio also, but a number will be missing, represented by a letter. So the third ratio is going to be a number and a letter. You can use X for the letter. What you're trying to find. Now look at the question. The question says you have 0.8 meters and you want to convert to millimeters. So we have a number which is 0.8 meters. We're going to make use of that number now in the third ratio. So therefore, this is 0.81 meters. So our third ratio will be making use of the 0.81. And here comes the use of the labeling. That's 0.81 have to come under meters because it says 0.81 meters. And the X now will come under millimeters. We want to find how many millimeters is 0.81. So please take this down. Make sure this is an alignment. The M, 1 and 0.81, all of them coming under M. The mm, millimeters, 1,000 and X coming under each other. Now, the fourth step now is what we call cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply and divide, or divide and cross multiply, because sometimes we normally do not give the word division much emphasis in that process. Cross multiply and divide. And you always divide by the number that is diagonally away from the letter. I repeat, you always divide by the number that is diagonally away from the letter. Let's take a note of that. So please take note, when you cross multiplying and dividing, or when you are cross multiplying and dividing, we're missing the word R. That's for two ratios or two fractions. You always divide by the number diagonally away from the letter. So when I say two ratios, I mean, this is an example, two ratios, 1 to 1,000 and 0.81 to X. So that's a case of two ratios. And you may have a situation of two fractions. So this problem can also be represented like fractions. 1 over 0.81, that's a fraction. 1,000 over X, that's another fraction. So you have two ratios, two fractions. You always divide by the number diagonally away from the letter. So therefore now, if the letter is X, you divide by 1. The letter is X. We must divide by 1 because 1 is diagonally away from the letter X. So we have X is equal to, and you have to have a fraction. Because when we say divide by, then divide by can be represented as a fraction. So you divide by 1. Okay, and we multiply 0.81 times 1,000. Okay, and the same goes for here, even though that's how we set it up. We divide by 1 and we multiply 0.81 to 1,000, and that will give us the value of X. So please copy this down. So therefore now, the answer would be 0.81 times 1,000, not 100, 1,000. Now multiplying by 1,000 or multiplying by multiples of 10 is very simple. So we just shift the decimal point 3 places to the right, 1, 2, 3. So that would be 810 millimeters. Okay, so 0.81 meters is 810 millimeters.